Good morning. Welcome back to online teaching. Yesterday we have seen about how the respiration occurs in various animals. Let's recollect how the respiration occurs from lower group to higher group of animals. When we see the respiration in lower group of animals like amoeba, planaria, so here a simple process of diffusion will be helpful for the exchange of gases. When we see in insects, cockroaches and grasshoppers, they are respired with the help of trachea. And when we go for the fishes are the aquatic animals, they live in the water, they are respired through the gills. So the respiration in fishes is called branchial respiration. In order to carry out for any animal the gill respiration, the gill should be richly supplied with the blood vessels. So they have the blood capillaries, exchange of gases will be occurred between the water and gills through these blood capillaries. And when we go for the amphibians by the name itself it is indicating they can live both on the land and water. When it is on the land, it respires through the lungs, and when it is in water, they respire through the skin. And the animals which carry out the respiration through the skin, it is called cutaneous respiration, that we will also see in animals like earthworm. Next, when we come to the higher group of the animals like human beings, reptiles, aves, here the respiration will be occurred through the lungs. The respiration through the lungs, it is called pulmonary respiration, what we have seen clearly in the yesterday's lesson. So the last part in your respiration through the human beings or the respiration in the animals, will be seeing any animal when the glucose is burnt either in the plants or animals, or when we see in the combustion also, the characteristic feature whenever the glucose is burnt, it liberates carbon dioxide, energy, and also the water vapor will be released. So that is whenever the glucose gets oxidizes, it releases carbon dioxide, water vapor and energy. So the energy liberated during the process of respiration is not only helpful for producing the ATP, and some amount of the energy will be used for the bodily activities. And excess amount of the heat will be sent out of the body through the heat. So it is necessary to maintain the normal body temperature. So the energy released during the process of respiration will not only be helpful for producing the ATP to carry out the cellular activities, and also it will be helpful to continue our bodily activities. The activities will be carried out normally because of this energy production. Along with that, heat also will be liberated during the combustion of the glucose. So here it is nothing but the heat liberated will be helpful to maintain the body temperature. So this maintenance of the normal body temperature is necessary because all the body functions, that is all the physiological functions like digestion, respiration occurs normally when our body temperature is normal. Either the temperature is high or low, these physiological functions will not be carried normally. So that if the body has excess amount of the heat will be sent out of the body. So how much amount of the heat will be sent out? The same amount of the heat will be generated in our body to maintain the normal body temperature. So in order to maintain normal body temperature, so generally we have art of breathing. So only the humans know the art of breathing. We learn when compared to the other animals, we human beings only know the art of breathing. So the art of breathing is nothing but here we know the structure of lungs. When we see in the lungs, when we see the structure of lungs, the lungs will have chambers. So the right lung it consists of 2 chambers, whereas the right lung consists of 3 chambers, whereas the left lung consists of only 2 chambers. So when we inhale the air, we take only 500 ml of the air. We inhale or exhale only 500 ml of the air. And even after complete exhalation, our lungs will have 1200 ml of the air. And still our lungs have the capacity of 4600 ml of the air. So total our lung capacity is 5800 ml of air can accommodate the lungs. So that is once again we recollect. So when we simple inhalation and exhalation, we take 500 ml of the air. And when during the complete exhalation, we liberate 1200 ml of the air. And still we have 4600 ml of the air. Your lungs have the capacity to accumulate that much amount of the air. So our total lung capacity is 5800 ml of the air, so that we cannot totally using. Only the upper chambers of the lungs are used during the process of respiration. So in order to use the lower chamber of the lungs, so we have to go for yogasanas, or we can go for the pranayama. So by the pranayama we can increase the lung capacity. So these pranayama, the art of breathing, was developed by a yogic Ayurvedic principle. So that is Patanjali. He developed the yogasanas. And he also developed the yogic principles into eight divisions. So among the 8 divisions, when we'll see, first we'll be seeing Yama, Niyama, Asana. So 8 principles he developed, that is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. So when we go for in detail, Yama means here we will be seeing social discipline, and Niyama, individual discipline. Asana, it is nothing but how to maintain our body posture. Pranayama, it is the art of breathing. So in order to increase the lung capacity and to fill our lungs with more oxygen, we should learn the art of breathing. So here, in the art of breathing, how we do pranayama, we will sit in a padmasana, then we will keep thumb on the one of the nostrils. We press the nostril with the thumb, then slowly we inhale the air with other nostril. Then with the help of ring finger, we close the other nostril, and what the air we inhale, we slowly exhale. So with which nostril you have exhaled, the same nostril you have to use for slow inhalation. Then close with the thumb, then exhale the air with the other nostril. So if you practice this continuously, slowly inhalation and exhalation with the other nostrils, so your lungs will be filled with the large amount of the oxygen that is necessary to maintain our body healthy. And more amount of the oxygen will be supplied to each and every cell. Even brain also takes more oxygen. Our body will be healthy and we will be healthy to carry out our life activities. So better to practice pranayama to increase our lung capacity and to get more oxygen to each and every cell. Next, when we go for pratyahara, so here we learned how to withdraw our senses. So withdrawal of the senses will be learned in the pratyahara. So next, dharana. For your students, it is necessary how to concentrate in the studies. So more time you will be taking for learning. If you concentrate and read, and you will be getting the subject very easily. So then jhana. So meditation, we will be seeing about the meditation, and the last one samadhi. So it is nothing but self-realization. So these are all proposed by Indian Ayurvedic physician, that is the Patanjali. Once again we will recollect the important points developed by Patanjali. So he is an Indian Ayurvedic physician. He developed a scientific method of breathing practice that is called Yogabhyasa. He proposed Ashtanga Yoga. He introduced 195 yogic principles, and he divided them into 8 divisions. So in that we have seen clearly about Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. So as an individual, everyone has to develop these yogic principles, so which will be helpful to lead our healthy and happy life. So next we will go for the next part of our respiration, that is how the heat will be liberated during the process of respiration. So we will do the 2 experiments in the aerobic respiration, how we did in the anaerobic respiration. So now let us see. First, CO2 is evolved during the process of aerobic respiration. So, our aim is CO2 is evolved during the process of respiration. CO2 is evolved, or we can also tell the CO2 is released during the process of respiration. So, next, what are the apparatus you need to do the experiment? So, we need two plastic or glass bottles. So, two plastic or glass bottles are taken, and see that the glass bottle will have a wide mouth. So, wide mouthed glass bottles are taken. So, these wide mouthed glass bottles are in one of the glass bottle, keep a small wash bottle or small beaker containing the lime water. The same thing we will be doing for the second bottle. So, here also we will be placing the lime water. And one glass bottle, first glass bottle, we will be taking the germinating seeds. So, now you will be getting the ready-made germinating seeds, or you can prepare the germinating seeds. So, take the dry seeds, soak the dry seeds in the water for whole day. So, we will be taking the water, in the water we will be keeping the dry seeds. So, leave the dry seeds for one day. For complete one day it has to soak in the water. So, next day you remove the water and you take the cloth. In the cloth you keep these soaked seeds and tie with the knot. Tie with the knot. So, place these seeds at the corner of your any room. So, after next day morning when we observe, so these dry seeds will be germinated. So, in this way we will be germinating the seeds. So, it is better to eat the germinating seeds. It contains large amount of vitamins and minerals which is necessary for our body health. So, that germinating seeds will be taking in the one glass bottle, and in another glass bottle we will be taking directly the dry seeds. Directly the dry seeds. Then close these bottles with the help of a rubber stopper. So, leave these setup of apparatus for 1 to 2 days. After 1 day or 2 days, when we observe, the lime water which is kept in the germinating seeds has changed into milky white. Milky white. Whereas there will be no change in the lime water which is kept in the dry seeds. So, the dry seeds do not undergo the process of respiration, hence the lime water is like that only. So, here from that it is clear that germinating seeds undergone the process of aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, and has evolved the carbon dioxide which made lime water milky. So, in this way we will do the experiment for the aerobic respiration. It is carbon dioxide is evolved during the process of aerobic respiration. Next we will see the another experiment with the heat is produced during the process of respiration. A little change we will be doing in this here. First let us see what are the things you need to carry out the process of experiment. Here we will be seeing heat is evolved during the process of respiration. So, what are the apparatus we need? So, we need two thermos flasks. So, we will be taking the thermos flask. Why? It maintains the temperature irrespective of environmental change. So, in order to do any heat experiment, we will be taking the thermos flask. So, two thermos flask is taken, and these thermos flasks are closed with the one hole rubber stopper. So, before keeping these rubber stopper, let's fill the thermos flask with the germinating seeds. So, the thermos flask are filled with the germinating seeds. So in another thermos flask, we fill these flasks with the dry seeds. How we have seen in the previous experiment, we fill another thermos flask with the dry seeds. Then close these thermos flasks with the help of 1-hole rubber stoppers. Then insert the thermometer into the germinating seeds. See that at the midst of the seeds there should be the bulb of the thermometer. So in the same way here also we will keep the bulb of the thermometer in the midst of the dry seeds. So before starting the experiment, note the temperature. So now let us take, it is about 25 degrees centigrade. So at the starting of the experiment, in the germinating seeds, it is 25 degrees. The same we will be observing in the dry seeds also. Leave it for 3 or 4 hours. After 3 or 4 hours, then see the temperature in the thermometer in both the flasks. So in the first flask, we observe a slight rise in the temperature, maybe it may increase 27 degrees. Here, there will be no change. No change will be occurred. So it will be 25 degrees itself. Then record for every 1 or 2 hours. So after 2 hours, again you note the temperature, it may increase to 29 degrees centigrade. Here no change. So from this it is clear that during the process of aerobic respiration, there is a constant increase in the rise in the temperature. So that is here we observe during the process of respiration, heat is evolved in the germinating seeds. So that's why we increase in the level of the mercury, the thermometer that is placed in the germinating seeds. Whereas in the dry seeds, there will be no rise in the temperature. From this, it is clear heat is produced during the process of respiration. So, before we are completing the process of respiration in animals, let's see the last part in the respiration, that is heat is produced during the respiration. So you know that heat will be produced during the process of respiration. From first we are seeing heat is produced during the process of respiration. How this heat will be evolved? So one characteristic feature will be observing whenever the glucose is burnt or glucose is oxidized, it liberates carbon dioxide, water, energy will be liberated. Either in the combustion or in the respiration, when the glucose is burnt, it liberates the energy in the form of heat. Yesterday we have seen in the combustion also, heat is produced. In the same way in our body also, the heat will be produced. So, we have seen in the respiration, the energy will be released during the process of respiration. So, when the energy is released, the total amount of the energy will not be converted into ATP. Some amount of the energy will be used for our body activities. And the excess amount of the energy will be released through body heat as a body heat. So in this, the maintenance of the body heat is necessary because it will be helpful to maintain the normal body temperature. Next, we'll go for respiration in the plants. We have seen how the respiration occurs in the animals. Now let's see how the respiration occurs in the plants. And you have clearly seen how the plants will undergo the process of photosynthesis in the first chapter. Now, in the same way how the photosynthesis occurs in the plants, the respiration also will be carried out in the plants in order to get oxidize the food to release the energy. As the plants are also living organisms, they need the energy. So that energy they will be getting by the process of respiration. So now let us see how the plants undergo the process of respiration. You know that the plants have, when we see the plants, the leaves of the plants will have stomata, a natural openings called stomata. More number of the stomata is present in the lower surface of the leaf when compared to the upper surface. So these are the main organs through which the atmospheric air enters into the plant. So then when we see the stem contains lenticels which will be helpful for taking up the atmospheric air, and the tissues present in the root hairs are also helpful for taking of air. So these are the three main parts that the plants undergo the process of respiration. That is the stomata which is present on the leaves, and the lenticels on the stem, and the tissue that is present in the root hairs will be helpful to carry out the process of respiration in the plants. So now let us take how the respiration process occurs in the plants in detail. So the exchange of gases occurs in the plants through the stomata. So these are the natural openings. How we have the nostrils, in the same way the plants have stomata. So these stomata is present in the lower epidermis of the leaf. So the air which is present in the atmosphere enters into the stomata. Then the stomata get opened. This creates a continuous network of air column all over the plants. All over the plant parts, we observe a network of air space will be created. So air space will be created. These air space are lined with a thin film of water. So these air space are lined with a thin water film. Thin water film will be lined on the air spaces, which is necessary for easy diffusion of air into the plant parts. So here the air from the atmosphere enters into the stomata. From the stomata it comes to the air space, a continuous column. It will be formed until the cell. So the air which is having the oxygen will enter into the cell. The oxidation of glucose in the plants will be occurred in the cell. So here, as the cell uses the oxygen, a concentration gradient will be developed in the air space. So that is, the amount of the oxygen is lower when compared to the stomatal output. So as a result, the oxygen diffuses from outer atmosphere to inside. So in this way, the air enters into the various parts of the plant. So how the oxygen has entered in the cell, in the same way, the carbon dioxide which is produced in the cell will be sent out to the air space. From the air space, it comes to the stomata. From the stomata, it comes out to the atmosphere. So in this way, by the process of simple diffusion and air space water column, the respiration process will be occurred in the plants. And next, the lenticels on the stem will also help for the transport of oxygen and for the removal of carbon dioxide from the body. And tissues in the root hairs will be helpful for respiration. So when we see the root hairs are present inside the soil. Between the soil particles, we observe the spaces, air spaces. So these air spaces present in the soil particles will aerate the roots, which are also helpful for the plant to get sufficient amount of oxygen. And when we see in the wet plants, means the plants which completely grow in the water, they develop a large air spaces between the stem and root. So it will be helpful for efficient intake of air, that is the oxygen, from the atmosphere. So in wet plants, the plants which grow completely in the water, they have a large air space between the stem and root system, which will be helpful for taking the atmospheric oxygen. And when we go for the mangroves, so mangroves, anyhow you learn these mangroves which will be growing in the marshy areas. So they developed the projections from the roots, so that is called breathing roots, or we'll also call it as nematophores or knees. So these nematophores will take the atmospheric air into the plant body. So here between the root system and the stem, some of the root hairs will grow into the knees or breathing roots, which will be helpful for taking the atmospheric air. That is a special adaptation will be seen only in the mangroves. So mangroves will develop the breathing roots, which will be helpful for taking the atmospheric air. So in this way, the respiration process occurs in the plants by stomata, lenticels, tissues in the root hairs, and in mangroves, the respiration will be occurred through the breathing roots. And in orchids also, the tissues in the roots will be helpful for taking the diffusion of the gases in the plants. So this is the respiration in the plants. How the oxidation occurs in animals, the same way the oxidation also occurs in the plants to produce the energy. So that energy liberated during the process of respiration will be helpful to carry out all the bodily activities of the plants. Either it may be the photosynthesis or another bodily activities will be carried out in the plants by the process of respiration. So next we will go for last part of this chapter, the difference between the photosynthesis and respiration. The last part of this chapter, so anyhow you learned the photosynthesis in the first chapter and respiration in the second chapter. Let's see the difference between photosynthesis and respiration. It is very important and you may expect for the 4 marks. So first, the photosynthesis is the photochemical reaction during which carbon dioxide, water. So when we see the balanced equation 6CO2 plus 12H2O in the presence of sunlight, chlorophyll produces glucose, oxygen and water. So here the light energy will be converted into the chemical energy. As a new substance is produced in the plants, we call the photosynthesis is anabolism, or we can call it as anabolic process. Whereas when we see in the respiration, it seems to be reverse to the photosynthesis. Here the oxidation of the glucose will be occurred and it takes place at the body temperature. Here we will be observing the liberation of carbon dioxide, water and energy. So as a molecule is broken down to produce the energy, we will be calling the respiration process as a catabolism. So breaking down of a substance is called catabolism, which will be necessary to produce the energy that is necessary to carry out the process. Next, when we see the photosynthesis, so photosynthesis will be occurred more during the daytime. During the daytime, more photosynthesis occurs because of the presence of the light, whereas at the night time, the photosynthesis will be very less. So irrespective of day and night, it takes whole the day. So that is during day and night time, we will respite. So the photosynthesis occurs only in few cells, that is the photosynthesis occurs only in the chloroplast, whereas the respiration occurs in mitochondria. So in this way we can differentiate the photosynthesis and respiration. Here during the photosynthesis, the light energy will be converted into the chemical energy. So that is our food, which is necessary for each and every living organism that is existing on the earth. In the same way how the photosynthesis is important life process, the respiration is equally important because it provides the energy from the food which is necessary to continue our body functions normally.